So, we all know that Marksman focus is a bad keystone for the veteran. In fact, it's arguably the worst keystone. In fact, the veteran doesn't really. Two out of the three veteran keystones are mid to bad. The best one, obviously, being focus target. Weapon specialist is like okay if that's your playstyle, but marksman focus, at least in my opinion, perhaps maybe I'm wrong, I believe is the worst one. Now, I understand the point. It's supposed to be like, oh, you're the sniper, you're standing around and you're sneaking and stuff. And standing still but getting headshots. But however, in a game where this can happen to you at any moment, oh, there was a crusher. Jump scared. Standing still doesn't really work out 90% of the time. But here's how I would change it. Alrighty, and welcome to my incredibly professional and well-designed slideshow made in Google Slides in about 45 minutes, maybe less if you include all the time I spent browsing social media. Now, Marksman's focus is bad. At least in my experience, it's bad. I've tried to make it work, and it just doesn't feel very good. Doesn't feel very intuitive, and it doesn't feel very, it doesn't feel very rewarding. Even though the stats it gives are pretty good, but compare Marksman focus to like focus target. The focus target, you're going to get a lot more valuable damage off because it affects the whole team, right? And you can like mark down elites and stuff to get them blown up quicker, right? Since the team are going to shoot the guy that's highlighted yellow usually. So, and that helps especially with monstrosities and, bosses and all that stuff. But the pros of Marksman focus is more crit damage, more headshot damage, and quicker reload. So finesse strength gives you more damage to your crit and more damage to your headshot, and obviously more damage to a crit headshot. Now, the issue is that even though it lets you move without losing stacks for 6 seconds on kills and 3 seconds on hits, that just doesn't feel very good. Cons, standing still, very bad. The amount of times I've had crushers sneak up on me, trappers sneak up on me, dogs sneak up on me, or even just getting like gunned down or like mobbed by ragers. Getting mobbed by ragers or any like horde makes marksman's focus pretty much completely useless, which is not great in a horde game to lose all these stats just because it's a horde game. Now, another issue is that it has wasted/excess stats. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times, for a lot of enemies, for most of the las guns, a headshot will usually do them in one, right? I'm using las guns as the focus here for like the base stuff, because that's like, say for like the recon las gun, and obviously, any stuff like that. But like for a Contrail las gun, or even a Hellbore las gun, a headshot 9 times out of 10 is going to put who you just, fired at in the ground, say for Ogrins, right? So, and obviously weapons that already do a lot of base damage that don't really benefit from this keystone, i.e. plasma gun, bolt, any of the bolt guns. You can argue maybe like, you can potentially argue for like the heavy variants of the las guns, like the Contrail and the Hellbore. You can argue that isn't necessarily needed, but and once again, like there's no real, like once in Reapers, veteran already does a lot of damage to these big targets, and they got big heads. Now, it does help you with Carapace Arnhem enemies, but veteran can already deal with those just fine. So it's just like it's investing in a lot, and it's over investing. And essentially, when you over invest in stats, you lose out on those stats because you didn't need them all, right? Here's how I would change it. I don't know why this one is white and this one, the background's black. I apologize for the flashbang or reverse flashbang. It just happened randomly in the middle, and I was like, you know what? I'll let Zinch have his day. How I would change it. I'd make it a timed keystone, like Disrupt Destiny or Heavy Hitter. Change it to 1 stack per weak spot kill. So like 1 headshot is 1 stack, right? Therefore, full auto weapons like the Agripna and the Recon las gun aren't able to insta-stack it on some horde or on a monstrosity or something like that. Well, and still rewarding headshots to be taken when you're fighting with hordes and, all taking out elites in the background. Because this is really what marksman focus is. It's like the sniper, your elite focusing usually, right? Bam, bam, bam. So it allows Recon las gun and Agripna auto gun to use it while also still gaining the benefit of those more precision-based weapons in the Veterans kit. Make it so weak spot hits keep the current stack, so if you're at a 4 out of 10 and you get a weak spot hit but not a weak spot kill, it just refreshes the 4, and then when you get a weak spot kill, it increases it to the 5. That way, at least it's a little bit less punishing, right, for moving, because in a horde game where movement's important, getting punished for moving feels really, really bad, even if there is a way to avert the punishment, quote-unquote. Now, for the other feats within the keystone, the mini keystones, I'll be calling them many different things throughout this video, more than likely. For Chink in the Armor, I think Chink in the Armor is pretty okay, but I would just make it so it's 1% rending per stack, so up to 10 or 15%, depending if you have Long Range Assassin or not. That way, it's just like you get a reward for every stack you have, so you don't have to, like, try to get to 10 stacks just to be able to use this modifier. And then for Long Range Assassin, no change here. It's, you know, pretty basic, 10 to 15, nothing wrong with it. And for Camouflage is, like, okay, I guess, for what it is. But once again, it's not a very interactive keystone. I'd probably change the entire thing. Maybe make it like you get a burst of... Like, I would change the name or something. Maybe, like, give a burst of move speed on a headshot or something, or on a headshot kill. Or maybe headshot kills reduce the vet's detection radius at 10 plus stacks, you know? Just to, like, actually be camouflage. Like, oh, if you're getting headshots, you know, you're like, you know... the White Death, if you will, you know, just a ghost on the battlefield. And for tunnel vision is good. I'd make no changes to how I would want Marksman focus to be with tunnel vision, but with its current iteration, it doesn't mesh well with the keystone, especially since it gives stamina, and this room doesn't want you to move. Now, I get it, you get, obviously, use stamina to block and dodge and stuff, but, like, once again, giving stamina back on a keystone that focuses on sort of standing still, it feels a little bit like, what are we doing here, gang? And that's, like, you know, that's pretty much how, you know, how the cookie crumbles. Like, I think the keystone needs a rework. I think the Veteran just needs better keystones, or, like, focus target is just too good not to take a lot of the time. And some other shit I'd like to see on the Veteran, especially if they're going to be adding, like, weapons like the Long Las. Bring back a way for the Veteran to lower their threat radius without having to use the stealth ability, because obviously the stealth ability has a keystone modifier that drops your threat radius by like 90% when coming out of stealth for a few seconds. I think something like maybe call the keystone like Camel Cloak or whatever, and make it a Gaunt's Ghost reference, where essentially like standing still or crouching like lowers your threat radius. Doesn't make you invisible, but it's like, you know, enemies are gonna see you from a lot. They'll have to be a lot closer to see you. And then something like I'd like to call trench maneuverability, something that would let the Veteran crouch and sprint at the same time, just so that they can keep their head down as the bullets come for them. You know, I think that'd just be cool. And the amount of times where like crouching would actually help and being able to move quickly, you know, I feel like it happens quite often depending on the map. Then some like friendly encouragement. I think this one's just really funny, especially because there's a bolt pistol and a commissar's hat in the game. Every so often the Veteran can shoot at or near their allies, and those allies get a movement speed increase for 5 seconds. Like that, I'm blanking on the name, but like in TF2, the soldier has a weapon where it's a whip, and if he smacks his teammates, he and the teammate get a burst of move speed, and it's really fun. And that's my very professional PowerPoint. Yeah, it wasn't really going to go in depth on the math of this. I think the keystone needs a change, and there's probably some dark-tide mathematician out there that can break it down way better than I can. Also, I realized my PNG might have covered up some of the text in this video, so I apologize. But I read it out on the screen, so that's okay. But if you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, or don't. I am not your mother, but you better brush your teeth and have a good one. Bye-bye.